Hello and welcome to Hellion. You did the right thing seeking me out. I can help you survive in this hostile environment. You've probably been asleep for a while, so you might want to get out of your pod because something is about to happen. You may feel a bit disoriented after being in stasis for so long, that's perfectly normal. Wait, you getting that?
Can anyone hear me? This is Fiona Myers, First Officer of Daedalus. Not that that matters anymore. But if you can hear me, I need you to trust me. The station you're in is about to fall from orbit, and you don't have much time, so grab your gear and head to the command module. You should be able to call for a rescue ship.
Ooh, that's not good. At least there's someone alive out there. You might want to hurry though, grab that harness if I were you. And you probably want the jetpack and helmet as well. Turn the lights off to save the battery. Okay, so there's only one way we can go. Now there's no gravity here, so you'll pretty much just float until you stop yourself. Grab that wall. Okay, see that triangle there? That means there's a pressure differential. You open this door now, that's going to vent all the air into space, so hold on tight. Ready? Are you holding on? Okay, or you could just let the air carry you around, but you might want to be careful doing that because if you time it wrong, you're going to hit something very hard. Now be very careful when going in from 0G into a normal G area, because if you're not standing upright, you will fall to the ground and probably hurt yourself. Okay, upper deck, she says. Let's get that door open. Oh dear.
Regular access codes don't work anymore, and that's my fault. Sorry, but there should be a hacking tool somewhere. Just try to look around.
Okay, do you know what a hacking tool looks like? Check those cupboards over there. Ah, you found one, well done. You should be able to use that to open this door. I don't understand how it works either, all I know is that it does. Okay, so this is a null-G environment, so you should be able to just float up there quite easily. Come on, time's ticking, you know. And there, that button should summon a ship to come and get you out of here.
It'll take a few minutes for the ship to get there, but it will get there.
Okay, again, you should just be able to just float down here.
They're the only good thing that ever happened in Hellion. Had we put them in charge, we could have probably avoided this entire mess.
Okay, so
Anyway,
both of these
head
corridors are
outside,
open to space.
make sure
Doesn't
you
really
have
matter
enough
which one you
oxygen.
take.
The ship probably won't have any.
Oh, excellent. Better hope we can find somewhere, otherwise it's going to be one short trip. Yeah, grab that canister, it's probably going to come in handy. Okay. So while we wait for the ship, I guess I better give you a crash course in EVA travel. Your ship actually has a little radar which can detect basic objects like this, and most of these objects have a transponder, so you know what you're looking at. You'll see three buttons and three numbers. You'll see three numbers in the bottom of the display. They are distance, direction, and relative velocity. Remember, this is relative, not absolute. There's no such thing as absolute velocity in space. So if I thrust towards that, the distance decreases and the absolute velocity increases and vice versa if I thrust backwards. Remember, there's nothing to stop you in space, so you will need to... there's a ship. If you want to stop moving in a certain direction, you'll need to apply a reaction force in the opposite direction. So the ship is 200 meters away. Thrust towards it. Just remember to slow down before you get there. EVA is basically a constant balancing act of thrusting in one direction and counter-thrusting in other directions to change your momentum. You've also got an auto-stabilizer. Don't be afraid to use it, it's there to help you. And don't be afraid to grab onto things as well. Remember, before these fancy jetpacks, EVA was pretty much grabbing onto things. Now I can tell by this that there's no air in the ship, so you can open both doors without worrying about depressurization.
Alright, so you have to check the power supply and the warp drive. Oh wait, but to gain access, you'll have to register first. There's a security panel on the bridge.
Luckily, this thing isn't locked. Okay, register yourself as a crew member of this ship. And then, you should be able to get this thing moving. Right, let's deploy the solar panels. We've already got a full capacitor, so it's not that important, but the solar panels will keep it charged up. And we'll just switch the ship on, and then we should be able to go somewhere. But I might want to search that derelict first. Now, flying a ship is very similar to flying with a jetpack, basically. You've got your direction, which is directional speed, which is now increasing as I thrust forward. You've got your distance, which is slowly decreasing, and you've got your lateral speed, which tells you how far you're moving in a different direction on the X and Y plane. The red bars tell you which way you're going, how to equalize. So if I thrust to the left, the red bar will increase to the left. If I thrust right, it will increase to the right. That's because I'm moving towards it and to the right. And again, if I go up and down. Now bear in mind, it's always a good idea to note the distance, because at some point you're going to need to start slowing down, especially if you're going to go full tilt like that. So start slowing it down before you run into it. And it is actually that one we need to search. It does take a bit of practice getting used to, but whatever you do, make sure you don't go too crazy with the speed, otherwise you'll just careen out of control and fly straight past it, and then you'll have to do an embarrassing long stop and fly the other way. And that's if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, you will hit something very hard. Remember, reverse thrust to bring it under control. Maybe not quite so much reverse thrust. The door's on the right, remember, so if you position this station on the right of your ship, then you should have the shortest journey to get to it. Now when you're close, within about 50 meters, and you slow to about less than 2 meters per second, you can match velocity with a ship, and it will stay there relative to it. Okay, let's go for a spacewalk. Be sure to keep an eye on your oxygen and your RCS fuel, because if they run out, it's going to be bad news for everyone. Okay, let's get into the station. And see if there's anything that we can use here. can see a nanite core over there. You probably want that. Anything else we can use? You probably want to grab whatever you can because we're not going to be coming back here. Probably because pretty soon it won't exist anymore. Nope, that appears to be about all that we can actually use in here. Yeah, that is why you want to make sure you're standing upright when you touch the ground in the gravity area. Now let's close the outer door because we're probably going to be warping at some point. Now this is actually a military nanite core. They give more protection but they last a fraction of the time.
You need to find a safe place. Check the nav map, look for an outpost or something. Anything with a stable orbit will do.
So yeah, if you're just keeping things
Okay, listen.
away, then you
I know
probably
you're
want
not a
civilian
pilot or a
players.
navigator, but right now, you have to be both.
Let's just get away
You
from
need to
that
set up
station
and
before we
execute
do
a warp
that.
maneuver. It might look complicated at first, but you'll see. It basically comes down to tweaking the departure and arrival times until the warp line turns green. Then just point the ship in the right direction. It's not that hard once you get a hang of it. I trust you'll manage.
Okay, you heard what she said, so open the nav map. Find ourselves an outpost that we can warp to. There's one. And then we tweak the times until we can actually get there. Now we've got 48 seconds to actually execute the maneuver, and it's going to take us 8 minutes to get there, so
Okay,
the maneuver node is right there.
once you're in a stable orbit, you'll be on your own. And
All you have to do is point
this
at
is all
it
I
and
can do
wait.
for you. Look,
Right, that will now
Hellion
jump in about
is not
30
what you thought it
seconds.
would be. Or what any of us hoped for. I can't even begin to explain how it all went wrong. I'm not even sure if all of this is real, or just some crazy dream that I can't wake up from. Or even if it's my dream at all. I could very well just be imagining things. God, it's getting so hard to think. Focus, Leona. But if there is actually someone listening to me, search for my logs. It's all in there. You might be able to figure out what happened. To do what I couldn't. Perhaps even find us a way out of this. This is, or at least I think I am, Fiona Myers, First Officer of Daedalus, signing off.
Okay, so first things first, get to a safe place. Then we can start looking for these logs that she told us about. Now that's going to take us about 7 minutes to get there now. So let's review the ship for now. This pretty much tells us basic stuff. As you can see, we've got gravity on here. We've got no atmospheric pressure, so don't take your helmet off just yet. Temperature is 28. I'm guessing that's Kelvin. I don't actually know. Probably not actually, because otherwise that would be bloody freezing. that green bar there, I believe, is how much protection you've got against radiation damage. Yeah, that's 2 HP per second, whatever HP is, and the green bar tells you how much you've got of it left. Hull integrity is there, that grey bar, which is currently on maximum, should be, it's a new ship. Well, new-ish. And that's, I guess, that gives you the radiation damage that you're suffering, so as long as the green shield number is higher than the radiation higher, then you're fine. Now this military core, that will give you much higher protection, so you want to put that in when you're in areas of high radiation. But they last a fraction of the time, so that's why it's best to use civilian cores when you're out here. So what have we got in here? Personal defense. Not much in there. Explosives. Again, not much. That's actually a mining drill. We've got a battery and a drill bit here, which obviously needs to operate. Don't know why they've been removed, but that's a resource canister. I can see by that orange bar here that it's got stuff in it, so I'm going to take that with us because that might come in handy back on the station, assuming we get there, obviously. Don't have any spare EVA suits, so good job you brought the only one with you. Life support is currently offline and the air tank is empty, so we cannot pressurise it, so there's no point turning on the air filters just yet. Power supply gives us our total consumption, total output and overall, so currently generating 360 watts, kilowatts, kilowatt hours, I don't quite know. Guessing that's kilowatts. And we're currently burning at a rate of 225, which gives us a surplus of 135, which is good. Want to make sure you've got enough power for everything you need to do, otherwise bad shit's going to happen. Probably. 4 minutes to go, this could take a while. Okay, we've got less than a minute to go, so let's get ready to drop out of warp in 50 seconds. And hopefully there'll be something there when we arrive. Now see what that sign says, do not use the RCS thrusters while you're warping because you will drop out early and then you'll be in the middle of nowhere. But now we appear to have arrived and there's several things here. Let's go to this thing called Haven, that looks quite promising. We can check out the rest of those things afterwards because we are actually running low on air, so it's 1.3 kilometers away, so again, don't go too crazy with the speed. You want just enough to get you there, and enough to slow down afterwards. There's a good rule of thumb, if you're constantly accelerating, you want to wait till half the distance before you start decelerating. Now somewhere on there should be a docking port. I can't see it, can you? Maybe it's on the other side. And I believe that's it. So let's park ourselves at the docking port. Again, you want to do this fairly slowly and carefully until you're fairly confident in your abilities. Now I am going to face this way, and I'm going to press M to match speeds, and I'm going to use the docking controls, which will give you a camera view of the port below you. Now we're quite almost lined up, so we just need to select the right port for one, and then just slowly line this hexagon, this octagon even, I can't count, so there's all that time in space. Line it up with the one on the station, and slowly approach. Once you've got it approximately lined up, you can just let momentum do the rest. Doesn't have to be bang on, just close enough for it to actually line up with the ports, and we are docked. Now air is actually running quite low, so you might want to use that canister you picked up from there around about now. Okay, I was hoping to get a bit more than that, but anyway. Let's open the outer door. And let's turn this off while we're at it, because it's just going to be using power. So, switch off the ship, but we'll leave the solar panels because they will help recharge the station's solar panels if it has any. Now before we get in there and start pumping air into it, we do need an airlock. And luckily there is one right here. It seems the station's parts are mostly intact, although they have somewhat fallen apart. Not quite sure what's happened here, but I'm sure the owner's logs will tell us more. Okay, so docking controls are here. Grab on. And we want to position that just like we did with the ship. We want to position it by the airlock's thrusters here. Get it lined up. Now this is a lot bigger than the ship, so this takes a lot more inertia, and carries a lot more momentum, so you might want to take this very slowly. Remember, if the red bars are all completely zero, then it means you're not moving laterally to it at all. And that green circle up there you can barely see is actually a rotational sensor. So now I'm actually going to take this, because this is going to be more use in the station than it is out here. So now we have an airlock, let's go inside the station. Again, there's almost certainly going to be no air in it. So I'm just going to open it. And wow, this has seen better days. Okay, that's useful. Let's take those. Now that little symbol you're reading in your HUD is actually a breach sensor that detects an air breach in here, so I would probably do something about that before you actually start pumping air into it. But let's register this cryopod, because that's the most important thing. And let's see if there's a welder around here. Oh, you found one, well done. Trouble is there's not much hydrogen left in it, so you might want to fill it up. So we'll just put it on the attachment here. As you can see, it's carrying 10 milligrams, or whatever the measure is, out of 80. Again, there's not much, but it'll have to do. So let's check out these solar panels. Again, there's no point closing these doors yet because we don't have any air. Okay, there's a big hole in there, so those solar panels won't work, so let's just weld these up. Right, now let's get these solar panels deployed. Okay, so let's fix up the rest of the station, making sure there's no breaches, and then we can start to pump air into it. And then we will finally have a home. Now we probably want to close this door now, because that is currently open to space. So, any more gaps that need welding up? Okay, let's power this thing up. Again, we've got a surplus of energy, so let's switch the station on. And let's fix these holes here in the life support system so we can start pumping air into it. Now these things really need catalysts to work better, but I'm actually going to put the resource injector in here, which improves the efficiency of the air support, life support system. So, okay, let's switch on the air filter and the air generator. Okay, there's actually a breach in corridor B, so let's do something about that first. Let's do that without floating into space. Sorry, I keep forgetting about the null gravity areas here. Okay, that's... should be able to pressurize that now, so let's pressurize the main room, and let's pressurize corridors A and B. Looks like we have got enough air. Okay, now you see the red triangle there because there's more air in here than there is in this room. You can also view the environmental controls here, which tells you we're currently 0.7 atmospheres of pressure, but that is enough to breathe, so we can take our helmet off now, which is a good thing because our air's running low again. Okay, we should now be able to move through all of these corridors without any more problems. So I don't know why there's no gravity in here, probably because there's nothing attached to it. But we can sort that out later. In the meantime, let's do something about that airlock as well, actually. Oh, why have we got a breach in there? I thought I fixed that. Okay, gonna have to be quick because that's gonna start venting air, I think, so... Why can we not pressurize the airlock? I think there's a fire. Okay, that's going to be awkward. Okay, get ready to vent. Now, where is that breach? I cannot see it. Why can't I see it? It's probably outside. Okay. Tell you what. Let's refill the tank. That's empty. That's not going to do any good. And now let's depressurize this, otherwise we're going to lose all our air. Open the inner door and figure out what the hell is going on here. Ah, I see it. Well, that was clever of me. We have actually lost a lot of air doing that. Okay, having fixed that, let's do that again. Close the outer door. Can't pressurize. And get ready for another blast of air to come sailing through here. Right, we're now going to have to repressurize everything again. Where are you? Main room. Okay, as they're all now open, they should all pressurize together. Right, we should now be able to breathe. Okay, first things first, let's fill up this. Fill the jetpack up with air. And with RCS fuel. Now, I'm going to get whatever's in here into there, and I'm now we've actually got quite a bit of ice and quite a bit of stuff which we can use to put in the refinery. Now, ice creates oxygen and hydrogen. Nitrates create nitrogen because we don't actually just need oxygen to create a breathable atmosphere, we actually need nitrogen as well. Because pure oxygen can actually kill you. Did you know that? Yeah, I'm sure you did. Anyway, as you can see, refining stuff takes time and uses power, so see our power dropping as we do that. We should have plenty, but if it ever drops to below 2k, then we probably won't be able to do any refining. And again, we can only do it in blocks of 100 at a time for some reason. Because that can only hold 100, so just get everything refined. In fact, I can just drop that in there while that's happening, and it should do it all at the same time. Maybe not because it's full of other stuff. And finally the nitrates. While we're doing that, I'm going to refill the... going to remove that first and pop it on this shelf here somewhere. And let's get that welder filled up again. Meanwhile, let's just make sure those are actually full. Just in case we need them. We probably won't, but it helps to be prepared. And there's also these things. Now, because that can take either resource, we can't just press refill because it will probably refill it with nitro, RCS fuel, so I'm going to put oxygen in it. Why aren't you refining? I asked you to refine. That's full of oxygen, that's got nothing, and that's got... If I just press refill... Okay, it did do oxygen that time, but I can't guarantee that it will. See, that's got oxygen and RCS fuel in it, so if I just press refill now, it'll probably just top up a little bit of oxygen, and I'm probably going to put those... I'll leave one of them here, but I'll keep the others with me. Also, I'm going to take the battery out of this and put it on charge. Shouldn't take too long, but as you can see, without the battery, you don't have a HUD and you don't have a light. How's the refining going? See, sometimes you get this 0 thing first. It doesn't actually have any effect on the game, but my OCD can't handle it, so I have to actually do it. Okay, so we now have some nitrogen and no oxygen. I'm going to put most of the nitrogen in there, not all of it, but most of it. And some of the oxygen in there. Again, not all of it. I'm going to keep some back. And as you can see, that is now creating air. We don't need it just yet, but we will do later when we start to connect the other things to it, and also we probably want to put air in the in the ship as well. But I'm not going to do that yet because it is currently open to space and probably not in the best of shape. That battery should be ready by now, so yep. Going to put that back in the helmet. Okay. So now we have a basic home. At least we have somewhere to keep us alive. But we're far from done. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.